we can see that Jesus was willing to welcome them into his life. And this was, as much a big commitment for him as it was for all of them that came along with him, right? He spent that time with them. The other thing is that these disciples left everything to follow him, right? This was the call that Jesus gave to Matthew, the tax collector, come and follow me. Or the fishermen, right? Come and follow me. And they left their nets. They left everything and they went and followed him. And this is a beautiful picture spiritually of what we need to be ready to do for God, to put everything on the table. And I'm not saying that all of us need to stop being fishermen and that we need to, give away everything that we have. You should do that if God's calling you to that. But what I'm talking about is a heart posture of just pushing all of your chips to the center of the table, saying, you can have it all, God. Whatever you want to do is what I want to do. And that was what the disciples did with their lives, what these learners did. We know that Jesus taught them his ways, and they would have heard him teaching over and over and over again to the different towns that he went to. Oh, and the other thing was that I love is that the disciples, they called him rabbi, which means teacher, right? And I love that, Mary in the garden, she says Rabboni, or rabbi, teacher. It was amazing, again, how Jesus connects himself with people that it was not favorable to connect himself with, that he was teaching women. And that was a big deal. So cool that he would teach them because the Pharisees did not like that. So that was just really beautiful, really amazing. The disciples, the learners, they were actually privy to secrets because they had that close relationship with Jesus. He would actually give them deeper revelation than the masses. The disciples asked him, this is in Matthew 13, it says, the disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? And in verse 11, it says, he replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. So the masses would get parables, but the disciples, they lived with him, right? They had that intimacy to where they could ask and try to understand what they actually meant. So when we follow Jesus closely, he will actually reveal to you secrets that he won't tell people who haven't committed to him like that. The other amazing thing that not everybody knows about is that he empowered them to work the miracles that he worked. He actually, in Luke 9, Luke 10, and in Matthew 10, we see him sending them out to do the same things that he had done, sending them out to heal the sick, sending them out to preach the gospel and to cast out demons and to raise the dead. And he gave them that authority. It says he gave them authority over all demons right then. This is before the Great Commission, but it was all part of that training process that he empowered them to do these things, which is just really cool. The part that we're not really aware of, and I would say that most of us are probably not even in this culture, we're probably not even ready for, is that he challenged them. I think that a lot of people, when they get challenged in today's culture, that's when we just leave people on red and we ghost them, right? It's like, oh, this is too hard, I'm done. But Jesus was actually just like a teacher. He was pulling them to something real, something good, and something that they weren't living out yet. And so he was saying, there is this standard, and let me tell you about what that standard is. So in Matthew 17:20, he says, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. So he was saying, if you had this thing I'm trying to teach you how to get, I really want you to get this thing that I'm telling you about. So in that situation, it was faith. If you had this, guess what? That mountain would move, right? And the other part of that is the part that we're really not ready for, which is the part that comes right before then, which is that Jesus actually told the disciples, hey, you screwed up. A lot of us are not ready for that part, the you screwed up part, right? What if your mentor said, get behind me, Satan? We probably would have all kinds of unforgiveness issues. We probably would go on live and say, talk about our church hurt. Would we be? Yes, 100%. Make a podcast about how pastors need to be more gentle, right? But But Jesus, he said, get behind me, Satan. This is to Peter in Matthew 16. He says, get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. Okay, so let's kind of sit with that for a little bit. And imagine if your mentor had said that to you, like your favorite teacher ever. Why was Jesus saying that in that moment? We know it was the most loving thing for him to do because Jesus is love. He was saying that because what Peter was saying was coming completely, which was, if we go back to that verse, he was saying, Jesus, don't be crucified. No, like that's never going to be true about you. Don't say that. He was saying something so completely against the heart of God, which was for Jesus to go to the cross, that he needed that swift correction right then in that moment. And Peter probably didn't even understand that at that point, right? He's just trying to give Jesus a pep talk or something, and he gets really corrected harshly. But it's a harshness that's love. It's tough love. And all of us need to, in today's society, we probably could stand to be a little bit more comfortable with that correction, with that tough love, and not to, as soon as it happens, oh, I'm done. Like, I'm out. We need to be able to hear that so that we can gain wisdom. If you look at how Jesus interacted with the disciples, he had those tough moments of correction over and over again. And it didn't mean, hey, I hate you, and you're going to go to hell for sure. It meant, like, you're still on the team. Like, you can still live with me. We're still going to travel everywhere together. I'm not kicking you off the team, and I'm not going to punish you, but I need you to hear my words of truth right now. I need that to speak to your heart so that you can move past this. So it's for our growth. It's for our betterment. But if we don't hear it from that lens, if we hear it from like a hurt lens or some other sort of maybe like an entitlement lens, we won't be able to receive the correction that we need from God.